What's going on, guys? I know it's been a while since my last video. A new job has been keeping me pretty busy, but I'm back now and ready to jump right back into things. And with OP11 released earlier this month, I figured now is the perfect time to go over each leader, talk about their playstyle, and figure out which one is best for you. Now let's get started. Up first, we have the green and yellow Shirahoshi, who, similar to Vegapunk, is a leader who can attack, but offsets this with a powerful ability. By resting one Dawn and turning your top life card face up, you can play one Sea King or Megalo card from your hand that has a cost either equal to or less than the number of Dawn on your side of the field. This allows you to bring out multiple characters on the same turn, as on your 6 Dawn turn, you could spend 5 Dawn and bring out a 5 cost character, and then spend 1 Dawn and bring out a 6 cost Sea King's character as well. Unlike other yellow leaders, the theme of this deck isn't revolved around adding or subtracting life, but rather flipping your life cards up with your leader ability, and then using other cards to flip them back face down and activate other useful effects. The new Sea King's card type is the only one we can target with our leader ability, but we'll also fill our deck with powerful Fishmen and Merfolk cards that green and yellow have to offer. For the core cards, I'll mainly be covering the ones we're seeing other players use, but there was a lot released in OP11, so make sure to check them all out yourselves, as there might be a hidden gem that other players have not yet picked up on. To start things off, we have the 1-cost Shirahoshi, who has the activate main effect. You can rest this card and 1 Dawn, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and add 1 Sea King or Fisherman Island type card to your hand. Otahime is a searchable 2k counter, but her on-play ability can be useful in the event you need to flip your life back down in order to activate your leader ability. If you do activate this, you get to draw 1 card as well, so your hand size will remain unchanged even after playing her. Megalo is a 3-cost 2k counter blocker, however, if your leader is Shirahoshi, becomes a 6k counter blocker on your opponent's turn. This is a nice early game option, as we can also target him with our leader ability, meaning at 3 Dawn, we could play him for 1 Dawn, play down our 1-cost Shirahoshi Searcher, and then activate her effect and add another card to her hand. We then have Charlie, another 3-cost blocker, with the on-play effect to flip our life face down. And if we do, look at the top 3 cards of our deck and add a Fishman Island card to our hand. The true value of this card begins on your 4 Dawn turn, as you can spend 1 Dawn, activate your leader ability and bring out a 4-cost Sea King's character, and then with your 3 remaining Dawn, bring out Charlie, flip your life face down, and draw a card. And speaking of Sea Kings, the first one we have is the 4-cost Lord of the Coast that has the on-play effect of one of your opponent's rested characters will not refresh during their next turn. Next up, we have the 4-cost whose actual name is Spotted Neptunian. I'm not sure why OP TCG has it listed as that name, but oh well, moving on. On play allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add either a Shirahoshi or a Sea King card to your hand. And finally, we have the 4-cost Bulge-Eyed Neptunian, who on play can attack your opponent's rested characters. We then have the 5-cost 6k power Top Knot Neptunian, who is the activate main effect. If your leader is Shirahoshi, you may turn the top card of your life face down and then set him to active at the end of your turn. This card works very well in this deck as it offers both offense, defense, and utility, especially once he's been on the field for a turn and you can attack with him. The way this works is you'll use your leader ability, play down the Sea King's card and flip your life face up, attack with this character, and then activate his ability, flip the life face back down, and then set him back to active again to end your turn. Neptune is a 5-cost 7k power character with the on-play effect. If your leader is Shirahoshi, you may turn the top of your life face down and then draw 2 cards and trash 1. The ideal time to play him will be on your 6 Dawn turn, where you spend 1 Dawn to play one of your 6-cost Sea King's characters and then use him to flip your life back face down. And speaking of your 6-cost Sea Kings, there are 2 that you run in the deck, the Bird Neptunian and the Scaled Neptunian. Neither of them have an ability, but beginning on your 6 Dawn turn, you can play them with your leader ability for only 1 Dawn. The Scaled's power is 1k higher at 8k, however the Bird Neptunian gives you the benefit of also being a 2k counter. We then have the 6-cost Jinbe, which in my opinion is one of the coolest looking cards in this set, who has 2 powerful abilities that we get to make use of. The first is on play, he allows you to rest one of your opponent's 5-cost or lower characters. He then also has the activate main effect. Once per turn, up to one of your Fishmen or Merfolk type characters can attack characters the same turn they are played. And he can give his ability to himself, meaning you can play him, rest one of your opponent's cards, and attack it on the same turn. And of course, no green deck is complete without Hody Jones. I've said in other videos, I think this is one of the best cards in the game, and you should always include it. And finally, this deck doesn't run too many events, but one great one here is 1-cost 4k power to any leader or character. So if you like the idea of flipping your life face up and then back down, and cheating out these Neptunian creatures, then I would give this leader a try. I would also recommend taking a look at the high-cost green and yellow characters and seeing if there's any you can include in this deck to have a little more strength in the late game. Now, Shirahoshi wasn't the only aquatic leader to make their splash into OP11, as we also have the brand new green Jinbe leader. His ability activates at the end of your turn, where if you have 6 or less cards in your hand, you may restand one of your Fishmen or Merfolk, as well as one of your Dawn, and set them back to active again. The theme of this deck is status manipulation, as you'll use your Fishman cards to rest or freeze your opponent's characters, while then using your leader ability to restand your own. While this is a theme we see with many green leaders, with Jinbe being a Fishman, we can make use of the OP06 Vander, giving this deck some powerful board control, as for 2 Dawn we can KO any rested character. Moving on to the core cards, Kami is our 1-cost searcher who allows us to look at the top 4 cards of our deck and add either a Fishman or Merfolk card to our hand. And I know we just talked about this Vander, but for 2 cost on play, if we trash a Fishman or Noah's Ark from our hand, we can KO one of our opponent's rested characters. And while you can play him as early as turn 2, I think you'll get the most value out of this card by using him to remove one of your opponent's core or high-powered characters in the mid to late game. We then have the 3-cost 4k powered Arlong, who has the on-play effect if your leader has the Fishman or East Blue type, give up to 1 rested Dawn to your leader, and then one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next turn. The language might be a bit confusing, but this is essentially allowing you to freeze one of your opponent's active characters as they cannot be rested, meaning they cannot attack on your opponent's next turn. Players are also running the 3-cost Tashigi, who you can either use from your hand as a 2k counter, or if you're facing black or blue and you're worried about some removal, you can drop it down on the field to provide protection for your other characters. The 4-cost 6k power Arlong provides some additional control for this deck, as on play you may discard 1 card, and then one of your opponent's rested leaders cannot attack on their next turn. At 4 cost and 4k power, Hachan isn't the most offensive threat, but he is a searchable 2k counter who also has a trigger allowing you to play him. The 4-cost Zoro can attack the same turn he has played as long as your opponent has 2 or more characters on the field. In addition, with Jinbe being both the Fishman and Straw Hat, we can take advantage of his on-play effect, allowing us to rest one of our opponent's 4-cost or lower characters. The 5-cost Fisher Tiger has a very similar effect, being able to attack our opponents on the same turn it's played, as well as having the on-play effect. As long as your leader has a Fishman or Merfolk type, we can rest one of our opponent's 6-cost or lower characters. The new 6-cost Jinbe is a great 6-Dawn play, as we can put him down, rest our opponent's 5-cost character, give him rush, and then KO that character on the same turn. And if he's able to stick to the board, in following turns we can give our other Fishman cards rush. The 6-cost Fisher Tiger allows you to rest one of your opponent's characters on play, meaning you can combine him with Vander for an 8-Dawn play that will allow you to rest and then KO any character on your opponent's side of the field. His other ability is useful against KOing effects, as if he would be KO'd by one of our opponent's card effects, we can trash 1 card, rest 1 Dawn, and then play a 4-cost Fishman or Merfolk card from our hand. And the best target for this will actually be our 7-cost Arlong. And that sounds confusing, but the reason for this is this Arlong's ability, as if your leader has the Fishman type and you're at 3 or less life, he is treated as a 4-cost character while he's in your hand. Oh, this also requires at least 5 rested cards in your opponent's side of the field, which includes characters, Dawn, and leaders. Hody Jones will once again be one of our key offensive options in the late game, allowing us to rest either Dawn or blockers to strike for game. And with all the resting power that this deck has to offer, I think the 10-cost Dofi is a great late game option to build off of this, freezing your opponent's side of the field while developing your own. But if instead you wanted some more removal, you could opt for the 9-cost Shanks instead. And finally, with our leader ability allowing us to restand 1 Dawn at the end of each turn, it makes sense to fill this deck with 1-cost counters, as we can essentially spend them for free. The first is Gum Gum Elephant, who works as a counter, giving one of our leader cards 3k power during a battle, or we can activate it during your main turn for 2 Dawn, allowing you to rest one of your opponent's 5-cost or lower characters. Vagabond Drill is another 1-cost counter, allowing us to give one of our leader or character cards that are Fishmen or Merfolk plus 3000 power, while then resting one of our opponent's 3-cost or lower characters. So if you like the idea of a Fishman themed deck that rests your opponent's characters and then gives your own cards rush when attacking those characters, this may be the leader for you. If you like the idea of your cards being able to attack your opponent's characters right away, and in some cases even target their active characters, then the new red-black Koby may be the leader for you. OP11 introduced the new Sword archetype, and Koby's first ability allows these characters to attack other characters on the same turn they are played. His second ability provides strong removal protection for your Navy characters, as once per turn, if one of your characters with 7k power or lower would be removed from the field due to your opponent's card effect, you can then negate that effect by placing 3 cards from your trash back into your deck. The theme of this leader is to control the board with your Navy and Sword characters that can attack on the same turn they are played, while filling up your trash to protect your own cards from removal by using your leader ability. Our first core card is the 1-cost Peacock Searcher, who on play allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add a Navy card to your hand. She also continues to have value on the field, as you can use her second ability, Trash her, and give plus 1000 power to one of your other characters for the turn. We also run the 1-cost Sengoku, another searcher, allowing us to find some of our better Navy cards, while also filling up our trash in order to activate our leader ability. The 1-cost Ripper is a new card and a great addition for any Navy Black leader, as long as you have another Black Navy type character in play, he gains blocker. Anytime you can get a 1-cost blocker, it's generally a great play, as for only 1 Dawn, you're getting some extra defense, and while they are easy to remove, you do have the added benefit of your leader ability to protect him. I included this Navy and Sword 2k counter, but we're not really going to be using his 1 attacking ability, so feel free to replace him with any other Navy 2k counter that you think works best. Aramaki is another 2k counter, however he has an activate main ability that can be very useful in certain situations. If we trash him and our leader is the Navy type, we can then select one of our other Navy characters and they can attack active characters during this turn. And if we combine this with some of our Sword archetype characters who can attack on the same turn they are played, we can remove some of our opponent's key characters before they even have a chance to do anything. We're also running the 2-cost brand new, meaning we're running a total of 3 different cards that improve our hand, and the reason for this is this deck has one main strategy, and so it's critical that we find our 5, 6, 7, and 8 cost navy cards that we were trying to play on curve. The 3-cost Sanji is not a navy card, however provides some early game pressure, as on your turn she will be a 3-cost 6k power character. The 4-cost 6k power Hina is another earlier game option, with 2 added effects that kind of synergize nicely with our leader. The first is by attaching 1 Dawn to her, she becomes an 8-cost character, making it harder for our opponent to target her with removal options. In addition, a lot of cards in this deck involve adding cards to our trash, and if we aren't activating our leader ability, this can start to build up over time, and her second ability will allow us to put cards back into our deck. Once per turn, she allows us to place 1 card from our trash to the bottom of our deck, and then give 1 rested Dawn to one of our characters or leaders. Our first sword character with an actual offensive presence is the 5-cost 6k power Hibari, who on play allows us to give minus 2000 power to one of our opponent's characters. This will make them more vulnerable to an attack, as being a sword character we can also attack with her the same turn that she is played. This also means we can immediately take advantage of her one attacking ability, which makes her a 7k power character, and then allows us to choose one of our leaders, and that leader can now attack active characters throughout this turn. This is a great card for our board control and allows us to remove some of our opponent's cards before they have a chance to do anything. The next sword card is the 6-cost Helmeppo, who offers a powerful combo allowing us to cheat out an 8-cost or lower navy card from our trash. To start things off, we trash 1 card, draw 1 card, and then play an 8-cost or lower navy character from our trash other than Helmeppo. The nice thing about this ability is it starts by trashing a card, meaning we don't have to have the character we want to play already in the trash. As long as it's in our hand, we can place it into the trash and then immediately bring it out. Now the character we bring out with this effect will be placed at the bottom of our deck at the end of the turn, but the good news is we're targeting sword characters, so they're going to be able to activate their effects and attack before this happens. And since Helmeppo is a sword character as well, this means you can play him, bring out another character, and attack with both of them on the same turn that they are played. Our next card is the promo Koby, a 7-cost 7k power character, who unfortunately for players in the West will not be available until August of this year. But if you are interested in learning and playing this leader, you can use this card on the OP TCG sim as of right now. His first ability activates on your opponent's turn and gives him minus 3000 power or bringing him down to 4k. This is to make him slightly easier to remove as it offsets his very powerful when attacking ability, where if your leader has the navy type, your leader's original power becomes 7000 until the end of your opponent's next turn. This ability provides some nice utility, making your leader's attack stronger while also making it easier to defend your life, as at 7k base power it's going to be a lot easier to counter out from attacks. And rounding off our sword characters, we have the 8-cost 9k power Koby with both an on-play and when attacking ability. His on-play ability allows you to select one of your characters, including this Koby, that can attack one of your opponent's active characters during this turn. When he is attacking, you may return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck and then target one of your characters or leaders and they gain plus 1000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. This ability also stacks with a 7-cost promo Koby, meaning you can bring your leader up to 8000 power for one of your opponent's turns. And if you have Hibari on the field as well, this means this 8k leader can attack one of your opponent's active characters. This card is also our best option and the one we are looking for to combo with our 6-cost Helmeppo. Monkey D. Dragon is a late game aggressive option, being a 9k power swinger with rush, but also allowing us to attach 2 Dawn to either our leader or another character to go for game. In addition, while we have many characters that have a pseudo rush and can attack other characters, he's the only card that we're running that can actually go for life on the same turn that he is played. In addition, if you thought this leader didn't have enough search power already, we're also running this 1-cost event that allows us to look at the top 3 cards of our deck and add 1 navy card to our hand. So if you're a fan of the navy theme and like the idea of attacking your opponent's active and rested characters on the same turn they are played, then this might be the leader for you. One thing I would recommend is to experiment with the many navy cards that are available, as well as some of the red rush characters that are available, and see how you can make this leader your own. Next up we have Charlotte Katakuri, a new purple leader who uses observation hockey to gain insight into your opponent's next card, and then use this information to trigger powerful effects. Once per turn, either when we declare an attack or when our opponent attacks, we can return 1 Dawn, look at the top card of their deck, and then he gains 1000 power for this battle. And the rest of the cards in this deck are focused around this leader ability, which in some cases can actually result in us ramping Dawn and getting ahead of our opponent. To start things off, we have the 1-cost Charlotte Pudding, who on play allows us to look at the top 5 cards of our deck, reveal 1 cost 2 or greater Big Mom Pirates card, and add it to our hand. She also has the Activate Main effect, where we can return 1 Dawn, rest this character, and then look at the top card of our opponent's deck. This can be great in situations where we need to know their top card in order to activate another ability, but they prevented our leader from attacking or in being able to activate it. We then have the 1-cost Charlotte Anana, who similar to Ripper becomes a 1-cost blocker as long as you have another Big Mom's pirate type character on the field. The 2-cost Charlotte Katakuri adds another layer to this deck, as we're able to use him in the late game to cheat out the 8-cost Katakuri as long as our opponent has 8 or more Dawn on their side of the field. There's a lot of writing on this card, but essentially it's an activate main ability where if our leader is the Big Mom Pirates, we may trash this card and play a 3-cost or higher Charlotte Katakuri from our hand that is equal to or less than the number of Dawn on our opponent's side of the field. This means in the late game we can play our 8-cost Katakuri for only 2 Dawn, but you don't want to play this character out too early, as at only 2 costs it's very easy for your opponent to remove. The 3-cost Charlotte Pudding is a core card for this deck strategy and one you want to get on the field as early as possible, as once per turn, when her Dawn is returned to your Dawn deck, you may set 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck onto your field as rested. This means she will effectively negate our leader's Dawn return, as she'll bring that same Dawn right back onto the field, and meaning we can start to use our leader ability as early as our second turn, attacking, gaining more information about our opponent's cards, while not deramping any of our Dawn. And this ability can stack, meaning if you had 2 of her on the field, whenever you activate your leader ability and return 1 Dawn, you'd actually bring 2 Dawn out. We then have the 3-cost Drusen, who we use as a 2k counter, but also has a useful activate main effect. Once per turn, we could return 1 Dawn and then rest this character. Declare a cost of your choice and reveal 1 card from the top of your opponent's deck. If the revealed card is the same as the declared cost, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. As you can see, this is the first of the new cards that are designed to be used alongside this leader. If you use this ability by itself, it would not be very good, as you're just taking a blind guess, but if you first attack with your leader, you will reveal the top card, and then you can activate this ability with some certainty. And as you can see, this can be nice to either get around a 4-cost or lower blocker, or target one of your opponent's cards before they have a chance to attack. Working in a similar manner is Charlotte Oven, a 4-cost 5k power character with the activate main effect. You may rest this character, declare a cost of your choice, reveal the top card of your opponent, and if it is as you declared, KO one of your opponent's characters with an original cost of 3 or less. Then add 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. This card adds a little bit of early game removal into this deck and is great on your 4 Dawn curve, as you can remove the 3-cost character that your opponent just played down. The nice thing about the final effect, adding 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and resting it, means you can combine this with your leader ability to have no change in your total Dawn, as you'll return 1 Dawn, but then once you activate this effect, you'll ramp 1 Dawn again. But let's say you played this on your 5 Dawn turn and you played Charlotte Pudding on the turn before. What would actually happen is when you activate your leader ability, you would return 1 Dawn, and then Charlotte Pudding's effect would bring that Dawn back, bringing you right back to 5 Dawn. But then you would activate Charlotte Oven's effect, and once that was successful, you would ramp another Dawn, ending your turn with 6 Dawn instead of 5. Charlotte Pero Sparrow is a 5-cost 7k power character with a similar ability with strong synergy to our leader. Once per turn, we can discard 1 card from our hand and declare a cost. If our opponent's top card of their deck is the same as that cost, we get to draw 1 card and then add 1 Dawn card from our Dawn deck and set it to active. This once again is our ideal play at the 5 Dawn curve, hopefully playing Charlotte Pudding before, as this will allow us to once again ramp up a Dawn, meaning on our next turn we'll actually be at 8 Dawn instead of 7. The 5-cost 6k power Captain Kid blocker is another solid option at 5 Dawn, as while he's not a Big Mom's pirate, he does have the effect wherever a Dawn is returned to our Dawn deck, we get to ramp 1 Dawn as active. As you can see, we're using a lot of different cards in order to ramp Dawn, as it's our goal to go from 5 Dawn to 8 Dawn in order to play out the new 8-cost Katakuri. This is one of the best new cards in all of OP11, an 8-cost 8k power blocker with the end of turn effect being able to restand both him and another Big Mom's Pirates type card. His ability reads, set up to 2 of your Big Mom Pirates type cards with a cost of 3 or more as active. Then add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and rest it. Firstly, this means that unlike other high-powered blockers, you don't have to choose between either attacking or blocking, as this card can do both. This also protects your other Big Mom Pirates cards, as once they attack, you can use this ability to restand them, ensuring your opponent cannot target them with an attack on the following turn. The final icing on top is he ramps you 1 additional Dawn at the end of each turn, meaning even if you had no other characters on the field, you can continue to use your leader ability without losing any Dawn. We then have the 9-cost Linlin, one of the only cards in the game that isn't yellow that allows you to recover life. On play, you can return 1 Dawn and trash 1 card from your hand to add the top card of your deck to the top of your life. You then have the option to place one of your opponent's 6-cost or lower characters either at the top or bottom of their life, face up. This can be very useful against some of your opponent's critical cards that you're trying to remove off of the field, but note that you don't have to activate the second effect. You will still gain a life, and you can opt not to place any of their cards into your opponent's life. And once again, she is a Big Mom Pirates card, meaning you can restand her with Charlotte Katakuri's effect. And finally, for your strongest late game option, we have the 10-cost 12k powered Charlotte Linlin with Rush. At 12k power, she'll be able to threaten any rested character in the game, but she also has an ability that activates when our opponent attacks that can give us some extra defense in the late game. When our opponent declares an attack, we may return 5 Dawn and then reveal a cost. If the top card of their deck matches that cost, our leader gains 2000 power for the remainder of the turn. And just like the other abilities, you want to activate our leader ability first, giving him plus 1000 power and revealing the top card, so this is no longer a guess, and our leader becomes 8k power for this one battle and then 7k for the rest of the turn. Now, returning 5 Dawn is a steep cost, so you don't want to use this just to counter out of an attack or two, but rather focus on using this to prevent you from losing the game or putting you in a position to win on your following turn. And at 10 Dawn, this is a great follow-up to your Charlotte Katakuri, as you can play her, attack immediately with her, attack with your 8-cost Katakuri, and then use this effect to stand them both back up. Moving on to events, we start with the 1-cost counter when 2 men are fighting, where we declare a cost, and if our opponent's top card is that cost, our leader or character gets plus 5,000 power for this battle. We'll use this alongside our leader ability to gain a 5,000 power boost for only 1 Dawn. We'll also use the 1-cost event searcher that allows us to look at the top 5 cards of our deck and add 1 Big Mom Pirates type card to our hand. There are then a few different event cards you can include depending on the matchups that you expect to face, as well as what you want this deck to be able to do. If you're struggling against some higher powered characters, you might want to include Ragnarok, where if we spend 5 Dawn and return 1 Dawn, we can KO one of our opponent's 8 cost or less characters. If you're instead looking for some mid-game removal that also includes some ramping, you can include God's Thread, where we spend 5 Dawn, KO one of our opponent's 5 or less characters, and then ramp 1 active Dawn. And if you're solely focused on ramping, you can include It's to Die For, a 3-cost event that allows us to add 1 Dawn from our Dawn deck as active, and if our opponent has a 6k or higher character, add another Dawn from our Dawn deck and set it to active. So if you like the general themes of purple with both ramping and deramping Dawn, and you like the idea of gaining insight into your opponent's next card and using that to activate powerful effects, then this may be the leader for you. Next up is Nami, who uses the drawing power of blue and life manipulation of yellow to both control the board and out-resource your opponent. The second theme is to take advantage of the many powerful non-counter cards out there, as her second leader ability allows you to turn any card into a 2k counter. Her first ability acts once per turn, only during your turn, and reads whenever a life card leaves the field, either on your side or your opponent's side, and you have 7 or less cards in your hand, you may draw 1 card. The important thing to note is this triggers from any life leaving the field, either our own or our opponent's, so we can trigger this by either attacking or removing one of their lives, or using one of the cards we run in this deck to add one of our own lives to our hand. Nami's second ability provides some very strong defense for this leader, and only requires 1 Dawn to be attached to her throughout our opponent's turn. When our opponent declares an attack, we may trash 1 card from our hand, and our leader gains 2,000 power for the rest of the turn. This is why we are able to run so many non-counter cards, as this leader ability will turn any card into a 2k counter on steroids, as it's not just for 1 battle, but it's for the entire turn. And with the strong draw power that we have from our other ability, we can often trigger this every single turn, turning Nami into a 7k power leader for the entire game. Starting off our core cards, we have another 1-cost blocker, as I think in the current meta, these cards have been providing additional value, being able to stop any attack for only 1 Dawn. We then have the 2-cost Kozuki, who we can either use as a 2k counter, or play her to activate her on-play effect to both benefit from our leader ability and add a card with a trigger to the top of our life. As an example, we could use her ability and then place a Capone at the top of our life to prevent one of our opponent's leaders or characters attacking on the following turn. This gains additional value at 1 life remaining, as we could remove that life card and then place our 0-cost event at the top of our life, essentially giving us another life when that trigger activates. Moving on to some board control, we have the 2-cost Nojiko, who on play allows us to return one of our opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less back to their hand. At 2 Dawn, this is a very low cost to remove a 5-cost character. It can also be great against characters with on-KO effects that we're not trying to trigger. Zeus is another 2-cost control card, also being a 2k counter, with the on-play effect that we may add 1 card from the top or bottom of our life to our hand, and then KO one of our opponent's 5-cost or lower characters. You can just use them as a 2k counter, but if there's a card that you need to remove, you can play it down as effect, and you will trigger our leader ability, so also draw a card, while adding 1 life to our hand. The 2-cost Martial D Teach has also been gaining popularity with this leader, with the activate main effect to place 1 card from your hand at the top of your deck, and then attach 2 Rested Dawn to one of your leaders or characters. This card has a few nice synergies with our leader, the first being it attaches Rested Dawn, meaning we don't have to leave 1 Dawn to attach to leader in order to activate their second ability on our opponent's turn. In addition, by attaching 2 Dawn to either a leader or character, it makes it more likely that a life is going to be taken, and even though we have to place 1 card from our hand to the top of our deck, there's a good chance that if we swing with 7k with our leader that we're going to take a life and draw that card right back up. Another option for a 2k counter is this 2-cost Sanji, who also has a useful 1 attacking ability that could be nice to trigger our own leader ability. By attaching 2 Dawn, when we attack with him, you may add the top or bottom card of your life to your hand, and then add 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life. If we activate this ability, not only are we attacking our opponent with a 5k swing, but we're also adding 2 cards to our hand, as we'll add 1 with Sanji's effect, and then another from our leader ability, with our total life remaining unchanged. But if you don't like the idea of playing a 2k counter and rather just have 1 in your hand that could also trigger a powerful effect, feel free to swap that out for Satori. Capone is yet another 2k counter, probably one of the best in yellow, as when he is triggered, he can negate one of your opponent's characters or leaders from attacking, many times can save you in difficult situations. I can think of quite a few times where I've both won and lost games off of a Capone trigger. We then have the 4-cost Kikunoju, a 6k power character with the on-KO effect. If your opponent has 3 or less life, place the top card of your deck at the top of your life. Ideally, you'll want your opponent at 3 or less life when you play or attack with this card, as on the following turn when it's rested, they'll have to choose between either removing it and giving you an extra life, or letting it remain on the field. There's also a useful trigger, where if your opponent is at 3 or less life, you get to play this card. And with this leader being all about out-resourcing your opponent, the 4-cost Charlotte Pudding is a great way to punish opponents who have been building up a hand size. On play, your opponent returns all cards from their hand back into their deck and then draws 5 cards. You want to be using this if your opponent has 6 or more cards in their hand, as you're essentially making them trash a card or 2 by decreasing their total resources. This card loses some value if your opponent already has 5 cards in their hand, but you could still play it if you're trying to remove something that they had drawn earlier with a searcher or trying to disrupt their Dawn curve. Just make sure you don't play her if your opponent has 4 or less cards in their hand, as you'll be essentially giving them a card for free. The 5-cost Nami is a 6k power blocker with the on-play effect of if your leader is multicolored, draw 3 cards, and then place 2 cards from your hand at either the top or bottom of your deck in any order. This card provides a nice balance of mid-game defense and utility, being a 6k power blocker and able to stop an attack, while also letting us improve our hand. The 6-cost 7k power Linlin is an offensive option that forces our opponent to get rid of some of their resources. On play, you trash 1 card from your hand, and then your opponent chooses between discarding 2 cards from their hand or trashing 1 of their life. More often than not, your opponent will choose to trash 1 life, as losing 1 card is better than losing 2, and the benefit of this is it will trigger your leader ability, meaning the card you discarded is now offset. The 7-cost Linlin is a card that you can use either as an alternative or in conjunction with the 6-cost and has a similar effect. On play, your opponent chooses between either trashing 1 of their lives or giving you an extra life. And no matter what they choose, it's beneficial to you, as they will either trash 1 of their own lives, your leader ability will trigger and you'll draw a card, or they'll choose to give you an extra life. At 8 Dawn, we can play the 9k power Captain Kid, who on play allows us to rest him and trash 1 of our opponent's lives. And hopefully at this point your opponent is at 2 or less life, so you can also take advantage of his end of turn ability that allows you to draw 1 card and discard 1 card. And for some late game aggression, we have the 8-cost 8k power Luffy with Rush, who has the 1 attacking ability. You may trash 1 card from your hand and then return 1 character with a cost of 4 or less back to its owner's hand. Then you can give 1 rested Dawn to a leader or character. This is another card that could be useful on your 8 Dawn turn, as not only can he attack right away and threaten either a life or a character, but he also is able to give 1 rested Dawn to your leader, meaning you can spend all Dawn to play him but still activate your leader's ability on your opponent's next turn. The value of this ability also jumps up if your opponent has a 4-cost or lower blocker that you're able to get around with his effect. Our first event is the 0-cost You're the One Who Should Disappear, who requires you to trash 1 card from your hand and then give 1 of your leaders or characters plus 3,000 for this battle. The main reason we are including this event is to pair it with this card, as at 1 life we could add our life to our hand, place this down instead, and essentially be at 2 life, as when it triggers it will give us another one. The 6-cost Gum Gum Red Rock gives us some more control, allowing us to place 1 character at the bottom of its owner's deck, and is great against boss monsters of our opponents. If instead you're focused on the mid game and want to remove multiple of your opponent's characters, there's the 7-cost Gravity Blade that allows you to place 2 cost 6 or less characters in the bottom of its owner's deck. So if you like the idea of having strong drawing power while trashing your opponent's life, building up a resource advantage, and being able to treat any card as a 2k counter, then this may be the leader for you. And finally, we have the highly anticipated Blue-Purple Luffy, who has been taken over the meta, making up about 25% of total deck lists and being the overall most popular leader as of the making of this video. The theme of this leader is to use Purple's ability to ramp Dawn to make it to the late game as quickly as possible, where we then combine our leader's ability and the many high-cost characters we run to overwhelm and out-resource our opponent. His ability is tested at the beginning of every turn, but only activates if you're at 8 Dawn or higher. And this test happens before your Dawn phase, meaning the 2 Dawn that you're going to get at the start of your turn isn't included in the calculation. So you have to end the previous turn with 8 Dawn to activate. But if you are at 8 Dawn, you then get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal 1 Straw Hat card, and add it to your hand. Then, place the rest at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. You will then begin your regular draw phase right after this, meaning you can organize the cards to draw any card, Straw Hat or not, to your hand right afterwards. This means, once you hit 8 Dawn, not only are you drawing twice every turn, but you're choosing the best 2 cards out of the top 5, as you can arrange them in any order. And as I will cover in the core cards, this ability allows us to unlock the true potential of the 9-cost Sanji, allowing us to bring out 2 9-cost characters in the same turn. And while you only start at 3 life, being at 6k power makes it a little more difficult for your opponent to threaten your life early on, and once you gain access to your leader ability and draw 2 cards per turn, you'll be able to quickly turn the tides and start to overwhelm your opponent in the late game. Unlike the leaders before us, we don't have any searches in this deck, and the reason is we just don't need them since our leader ability has a search effect built into it. Our goal is to get to 8 Dawn as quickly as possible, and the 3-cost Zoro is the first of 4 cards that allow us to ramp up ahead of schedule. When attacking, if you have 3 or less life, add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Since we start the game with 3 life, we'll be able to take advantage as soon as he can attack, and ideally you'll play him on your 3 Dawn turn and turn your 5 Dawn into your 6 Dawn turn. We also run the 3-cost Usohachi, one of the best 2k counters in purple, and lucky for us, also a Straw Hat card, meaning we can search for it with our leader ability. And just like our leader ability, if we're at 8 Dawn, we can use his on-play effect, resting up to one of our opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, which can be nice to get around some low-cost blockers. Mr. 2 is our second ramping character and can be played on the turn after Zoro, which would effectively turn our 5 Dawn turn into a 7 Dawn turn when we activate both of their effects. The first benefit of Mr. 2 is his Dawn ramping happens as soon as you play him, we don't have to wait to attack. And while he's only at 1k base power, his 1 attacking ability allows you to match his power to one of your opponent's characters, meaning as their board develops and becomes stronger, so too will his attacks increase in strength. Of course, you should only expect to get one good attack from him, as after you do, he'll be rested and 1k power on your opponent's turn, meaning a strong breeze will be enough to KO him. We also have the 4-cost Pudding, as being a 6k power leader means you will threaten life early on, and if your opponent adds some cards to their hand from their life, we can punish them and remove some of those with her effect. The 5-cost Nami is an excellent addition to this leader, allowing us to stall out the game with her blocking abilities, as well as having an on-play effect to both improve our hand and allow us to reorganize cards, perhaps getting into Sanji's effect before we have access to our leader ability. And speaking of Sanji, we're also running the 6-cost, 6k power, 2k counter blocker version of the card. That's a lot of attributes, which oftentimes we can just use as 2k counter, but can also be useful in late game turns when you need a blocker on the field. Moving on to our late game options, we start with the 8-cost Luffy we covered before, an aggressive option with Rush and able to bounce back a 4 or lower character when he attacks. This is a great option for some board control, especially if your opponent has a rested character and a low-cost blocker, as he can remove both with the same attack. In contrast to this, we have the 8-cost Charlotte Katakuri, a defensive option for your 8-Dawn turn, as he's an 8k power blocker with the end of turn ability to restand both him and another Big Mom Pirates card. And since we are running Charlotte Linlin as well, you can gain value from this end of turn effect, as there will be games when both of them are on the field. The 9-cost Sanji unlocks the most powerful combo in this deck, as on play, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a 9-cost or lower character, play it onto the field. And as mentioned before, we'll have our leader ability to place the cards exactly how we want, meaning we can ensure that another 9 or 8 cost character is ready to be played from this effect. This means we can chain out 2 9-cost characters at the same time, activating their beneficial effect, but also just bringing out 2 9k bodies on the same turn. The first target is the 9-cost Linlin, an excellent target as she allows us to recover life and stall out the game so we can continue to build our advantage over our opponent. On play, we return 1 Dawn, trash 1 card from our hand, and then add the top of our deck to the top of our life. Then, we have the option of placing one of our opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less at the top or bottom of their life. For the more aggressive option, we can combo him with the 10k powered Luffy, who on play allows us to return 1 Dawn, draw 1 card, and then he gains Rush. And rounding things off, we have the control option, the 9-cost 9k power Mihawk, who on play allows us to bottom deck a character with a cost of 7 or less. With all of our boss characters being 9 cost and lower, this means in the late game when we have 10 Dawn available, we'll always have 1 up that we can use for counter. The first of which is the 1-cost Gum Gum Giant, a very well-known card that is notoriously powerful in the late game. It costs 1 Dawn to activate, and then you have to return 2 Dawn, trash 1 card from your hand, and then if your leader is the Straw Hat Crew, you can give 4,000 power to one of your leaders or characters, and then draw 2 cards. Normally returning 2 Dawn is a very high cost, and you don't want to use this in the early and mid game, but once you hit 10 Dawn, this becomes much less impactful. This is because after returning 2 Dawn, you will still be at 8 Dawn total, meaning to start your next turn, you will still benefit from your leader ability. And then following your regular draw, you'll be back at your Dawn phase, where you'll add 2 Dawn from your Dawn deck and be right back up to 10. And since the second effect has you draw 2 cards, there is no change to your total hand size despite the fact that you just countered by 4,000 power. The Gear 2 event provides some nice utility to this deck, as we can either use it during our turn as a way to ramp Dawn, or as a counter to stop an attack. If we activate during our main phase, we have to rest 2 more Dawn, meaning it has a total of 3 cost, and if our leader is blue, add 1 Dawn from our Dawn deck and rest it. This can be an alternate option on our 3 Dawn turn if we didn't have Zoro in our hand, or if we were facing an opponent like Lucci and we don't expect Zoro to remain on the field before we can benefit from his effect. And even if we don't need this to ramp, this card is always useful in our hand, as we can leave 1 Dawn up and give our leader plus 3,000 power during one of the battles. And for our final ramping option, we have the 3-cost It's to Die For. Its effect allows us to ramp 1 Dawn and set it as active. Then, if our opponent has a character with 6k power or more, we can ramp 1 additional Dawn and set that to active as well. And if you're able to ramp 2 Dawn with this effect, in addition to another 1 Dawn from either Mr. 2 or Zoro, you're going to be so far ahead of your opponent that it's going to be very hard for them to come back. The downside of this card is if you don't need to ramp, it's not going to add much value to your hand. But the good news is it's a good target for either Gum Gum Giant or another card that makes you trash something. So if you like the idea of ramping ahead of your opponent, rushing to the end game, and then dropping down multiple 9-cost characters in the same turn, all the while drawing 2 cards per turn, then this is the leader for you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video has given you all the information you need to figure out which leader is best for you. And sorry again for taking such a long time between my last video, but I want to let you know that I'm jumping right back into things with detailed guides, gameplay, pack openings, and more content coming soon. I'll catch you next time. Brock Lee signing off.